Welcomed an evil prince to the White House. He welcomed the Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, Mohammed bin Salman, the only leader who treats reporters worse than he does, to a big, lavish dinner in his honor. Mohammed bin Salman, this is a guy who gave a green light to the brutal murder of Jamal Khashoggi, a columnist.
That's political violence. The president, when he says these things, there are consequences. And by the way, I mean, isn't this the guy 2 months ago that said, we've got to stop this, like, political violence issue? He didn't even make it to Thanksgiving.
It's almost like he doesn't mean anything he says. It's almost as if he's...
Trump strode in, radiating unshakable confidence, as if his charm alone could bend the spotlight to his will. But Jimmy Kimmel and Senator Mark had entirely different plans. Every gesture, every utterance, every carefully timed pause became raw material for an escalating storm of laughter. What started as a political moment quickly unraveled into full-blown chaos, a whirlwind of absurdity and wit. Trump found himself caught in a comedic crossfire so intense it seemed impossible to outrun. Was this the moment his bravado finally collided with the universe's sense of humor? Or had fate simply decided the time for cosmic payback had arrived?
This morning, he threatened to delay SNAP benefits to the 42 million Americans who need them until the shutdown is over. And then his press secretary had to go out there and walk that back because he legally can't do it. It really is amazing. The president says one thing, the White House says another, entirely different.
It was as though Trump had marched into the spotlight with the certainty of a man convinced the cosmos itself waited breathlessly for each syllable he uttered. His motions were sweeping and theatrical, his posture inflated as if he bore the weight of centuries on his shoulders. Kimmel locked onto him instantly, magnifying each dramatic flourish into a spectacle worthy of scientific measurement. Something large enough to threaten the Richter scale of comedic disruption.
Naturally, Trump is pulling out all the stops for his trillionaire friend, who also happens to be doing business with Don Jr. and Eric.
Is it appropriate, Mr. President, for your family to be doing business in Saudi Arabia while you're president? Is that a conflict of interest? And Your Royal Highness, the U.S. intelligence concluded that you orchestrated the brutal murder of a journalist. 9/11 families are furious that you are here in the Oval Office. Why should Americans trust you? And the same to you, Mr. President.
Now, who are you with?
I'm with ABC News, sir.
You're with who?
ABC News, sir.
Fake news.
That was Mary Bruce of ABC News doing what report?
If you're enjoying this video, make sure to subscribe to the channel and hit that bell icon. Meanwhile, Senator Markey lingered at the sidelines, sharpening his focus with each exaggerated statement and overly dramatic flourish Trump produced. His commentary sliced through the inflated bravado effortlessly, turning every attempt at self-promotion into a vivid tableau of absurdity. Under Markey's precise wit, Trump's efforts to project authority began to implode, reshaped into a masterclass of humor that struck with surgical impact.
It's like he doesn't mean anything he says. It's almost as if he's a hypocrite in some ways.
I mean, you can't keep track of this guy and what he says. And I'll tell you this, though. I'm not backing down. I mean, we said something very simple. Members of the military need to follow the law. We wanted to say that we have their backs.
Trump's proclamations carried the air of a man revealing long-lost ancient secrets to the world, but the audience perceived something far more theatrical, almost dripping with overconfidence. Kimmel seized each grand motion, transforming them into slapstick choreography that sent waves of laughter rippling across the room. The more Trump puffed himself up, the bigger the comedic explosion became, until the contrast between what he imagined and what actually unfolded vibrated through the room in gleeful disbelief.
As this gentleman is concerned, he's done a phenomenal job. You're mentioning somebody that was extremely controversial. A lot of people didn't like that gentleman that you're talking about. Whether you like him or didn't like him, things happen. But he knew nothing about it, and we can leave it at that. You don't have to embarrass our guest by asking a question like that.
That's right. How dare you embarrass a man who had a columnist sawed into pieces? Things happen. Things happen. This is not an episode of The Sopranos. You're the president of the...
Mark observed every inconsistency woven through Trump's declarations, highlighting the exact moments when sheer confidence clashed headlong with the ridiculous. Trump's attempts at grandeur turned into sprawling canvases for comedy, each word acting like an unintended brushstroke of hilarity. His dramatic pauses, sudden shifts in posture, and attempts at flair were mined relentlessly for comedic treasure. As the roast intensified, each layer of exaggeration pushed the spectacle higher into a realm of surreal absurdity.
We cannot be fired, not by the president, just by our constituents in an election. So instead, he's going to try to intimidate us because he disagrees or he didn't like what we said. What I think the president should have done is he should have watched the video, he should have listened to the video and listened to the message, and what I think any other president would have done is they would have retweeted that video and said,
Kimmel latched on to Trump's love of showmanship, treating every sweeping hand motion and carefully angled head tilt as material for full-blown satire. The president's gestures mutated into theatrical props, each more exaggerated than the last. His entrances became timed like the climactic reveals of a soap opera, magnified until reality felt absurdly small in comparison. Kimmel's commentary inflated the spectacle to cartoonish proportions, where even a blink or breath became a setup for another joke. Mark joined in without hesitation, slicing into Trump's inflated sense of consequence with pinpoint accuracy. Every proclamation was dissected and rebuilt into a comedic narrative so vivid that Trump's own aura of self-importance collided again and again with the world around him, exploding into ongoing punchlines.
Also, hey, you just think about how cruel a person has to be to cut off food to 42 million people. It's the kind of thing that makes you go, oh, no wonder his kids are like that. The guy who never missed a Happy Meal in his life is deciding who gets to eat in this country. So after a federal court ordered them to do it, the Trump administration agreed to pay half the benefits, which is not enough, so we are going to have to help.
Mark delivered a masterclass in sarcasm, turning Trump's attempts at authoritative dominance into sprawling caricatures of misplaced grandeur. Each confident stride and emphatic gesture transformed under his commentary into even bigger exaggerations. The gap between intention and execution widened dramatically, becoming fertile ground for relentless humor. As Trump pushed harder, the roast grew wilder, achieving theatrical heights that bordered on legend. Every small movement, every blink, pause, or shift became amplified until Trump's attempts to appear commanding dissolved under waves of comedic momentum. Mark highlighted even the smallest inconsistencies, turning them into massive comedic set pieces that left the room roaring.
Said, from what I can tell, and I don't know Pete Hegseth well, I sit on the committee that ultimately had to confirm him, so I know a little bit about his background. He's totally unqualified.
Well, come on, he was, hold on.
Against,
he was a weekend host at Fox and Friends.
nothing against journalists. They play a very important role in our society, but he's not qualified for this job. And from what I can tell and talking to some of my Republican colleagues, I mean, he just wants to please the president.
Obviously, yes.
And this is what he can do this week. He can go after me under the Uniform Code of...
Trump pushed his self-promotion even further, moving with the certainty of someone who believed history hinged upon every flick of his wrist. Each announcement and proclamation played like a headline pulled from a parallel dimension. Kimmel seized each exaggeration, enlarging the grandiosity until it erupted into full-blown satire. The more Trump reached for gravitas, the heavier the comedic fallout became. Mark followed by dissecting the subtleties of Trump's micro-expressions. Every narrowed eye, lifted brow, and twitch of the lip was repurposed as a miniature comedy sketch. Nothing escaped interpretation.
The entire performance evolved into an ever-expanding tapestry of visual absurdity as Kimmel and Mark capitalized on each gesture, turning Trump's self-importance into a cascade of escalating punchlines.
Not like Trump doesn't care about people. I mean, he has a lot of empathy. He's feeling especially bad right now for the family of the newly decrowned Jeffrey Epstein pal, the now former Prince Andrew.
Prince Andrew in the UK has had his royal titles stripped away because of the Epstein scandal. I know you're close to the royal family there. Do you have any thoughts on that?
I feel very badly. I mean, it's a terrible thing that's happened to the family. That's been a tragic situation. And it's too bad. I mean, I feel badly for the family.
That family he feels bad for. The ones losing their food stamps, they're going to be fine. Don't worry about it. This is like Bill Cosby feeling bad for art.
Mark targeted Trump's pacing, catching the exact moments where bravado collided with awkward execution. Movements meant to convey dominance became unintentional physical gags under Mark's analysis. The combination of exaggerated physicality and razor-sharp commentary evolved into a layered comedic masterpiece, unfolding in real time before an audience that watched drama blur seamlessly into absurdity. Trump attempted to highlight his accomplishments through sweeping gestures, but each flourish only added more fuel to the humor. Mark then turned his sights on the confidence beneath Trump's words, transforming bold proclamations into comedic ammunition. Every miscalculation became a spotlight moment, every overreach magnified until the roast became both intricate and hilariously devastating.
And he's trying to get some fear out there. And fear can be contagious. But what also can be contagious is courage and patriotism. And that's the reason why.
Because the overall effect is that people are now a little more careful before they speak out. People are worried about speaking out. People don't want to say things that they need to be saying. And that's flat out un-American, isn't it?
It's how democracies die. It is right out of the playbook. You know, the playbook of authoritarianism, that's what they do. They try to suppress speech.
Trump escalated once more, his declarations dripping with dramatic flair as though he were unveiling revelations destined to echo through eternity. Kimmel captured each beat, expanding it into an ever-growing narrative of absurdity. Trump's theatrical gestures collided spectacularly with reality, each movement reworked into a visual punchline. The roast's energy surged, leaving audiences suspended between laughter and disbelief. Mark followed closely, emphasizing every gap between Trump's appearance and the substance behind it. Each misstep turned into comedic brilliance. Kimmel then honed in on Trump's dramatic pauses, exaggerated inflections, and deliberate pacing. Every hesitation became a setup for humor. Ordinary actions warped into spectacle, and spectacle into comedy. Trump's gestures, expressions, and proclamations fused into a continuous performance of self-importance, reimagined by Kimmel as a symphony of layered punchlines. Each overblown movement was transformed into a comedic explosion, captured and magnified with perfect timing.
Now infamous Epstein birthday letter that was released last month by the House Oversight Committee. Trump is suing the Wall Street Journal for $10 billion over this letter, which our doodler-in-chief denies he had anything to do with.
Did you sign Jeffrey Epstein birthday letter?
It's not my signature, and it's not the way I speak. And anybody that's covered me for a long time, no, that's not my language. It's nonsense.
It's an interesting statement. It's not the way I speak, and anybody that's covered me for a long time knows that's not my language. Now, we've been covering Donald Trump for what feels like a very, very long time, and in the interest of fairness, we decided to do a bit of...
Mark deepened the humor by amplifying the absurdity woven into Trump's attempts at authority. Even the tiniest facial expressions or flicks of the hand became ripe for satirical exploration. Trump's fondness for grandiosity became an arena for unrestricted comedy, and Mark's precision guaranteed each moment landed flawlessly. Kimmel highlighted Trump's instinct to treat every setting like an elaborate stage production, elevating routine actions into scenes of epic comedic magnitude. Each step, glance, and wave transformed into a visual punchline, stretched across an ever-expanding spectacle. Mark matched this by dissecting the tension between Trump's intended message and how it actually appeared. Every flourish became a comedic device. Layer by layer, the roast unfolded into a dense and compelling narrative of exaggerated absurdity. Trump's hunger for grandeur became central to Kimmel's commentary, each boast inflated into an extravagant display. Mark, meanwhile, captured subtle shifts in expression, turning faint overconfidence into heightened comedy. Every blink or twitch became a joke waiting to happen, separating Trump's intended seriousness from the hilarity it produced.
Congressional Medal of Honor, that soldiers, they're either in very bad shape because they've been hit so many times by bullets, or they're dead.
What I hear there from Donald Trump are the words of a coward, a man who would not serve in the U.S. military, makes up some excuse about, bone spurs, got out of serving in Vietnam. And he clearly doesn't understand us. He doesn't understand members of our society who served in the military. I spent 25 years in the United States Navy. I think the concept of putting something before self is totally.
Trump continued to ramp up his performance, acting as though every word he spoke was destined to ripple through time. Kimmel absorbed each gesture and flourish, spinning them into comedic visuals that seemed to defy logic. The absurdity compounded endlessly, forming an unbroken chain of satire. Mark layered his own observations atop this, pinpointing timing, expressions, and exaggerated delivery with precision. Every overreach and misstep became a new comedic peak. Kimmel turned Trump's entrances and exits into theatrical epics, each step a dramatic event, each wave a carefully sculpted punchline. The spectacle refused to slow, fueled by Trump's unyielding confidence. Each motion became a new source of humor, each moment building to a crescendo of laughter. Both Kimmel and Mark dissected every dramatic flourish and overconfident declaration, weaving together a relentless stream of satire. Every gesture, every proud look, every attempt at grandeur was repurposed into a layered comedic tapestry. Kimmel delivered each sequence with explosive timing, transforming Trump's self-importance into an unstoppable cascade of humor. In the final moments, Trump stood enveloped in the spectacle he created, while Kimmel and Mark converted every ounce of dramatic flair into pure comedic brilliance. Every movement, every line, every flourish, adding to the grand and hilarious crescendo.